Ready. Hello. You good to go? There you go, huh? Long day.
And we're giving away
this chair.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Monday night's November 11th, 2024, 6 p.m. regular meeting. It is 6:02. We have a roll call. Davis.
Here.
Kennard.
Here.
Evitt.
Present.
Piles. Present. Lester is present. Laster. Present. And McCarthy. Tardy. Can we stand for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the November 11th, 2024 meeting agenda as presented. Support. It's been motioned by Laster, supported by Davis. Laster. Yes. Davis.
Yes.
Piles.
Yes.
Kennard.
Yes.
Evitt.
No.
Wester, yes. Motion passed. Thank you. We are at public comment.
Right here.
Dr. Cheney.
I do have a time.
So, good evening, everyone. I realize not everyone follows me on social media, so you may have missed my public acknowledgement and gratitude there. I wanted to take a moment tonight to say thank you once again to the 4,258 plus people who supported my campaign. Although I will not have the honor of serving on the school board, I want to reaffirm my commitment to being a resource in our community. The election results do not change that by any means. So as many of you know, my PhD is in education and psychology. My work focuses on issues of equity in education, including college career access, preparation and success, transformative, social and emotional learning, and parental involvement. In my current role at the University of Michigan, I help evaluate the 51 DEI strategic plans in all schools and colleges across the university, as well as college preparation and success programs, including Wolverine Pathways and the Office of Multicultural Initiatives Success Connect program. This Friday, I'll be joining my Wolverine colleagues at the high school here as we bring Wolverine Express to our young scholars, sharing our career journeys and discussing various career paths. This work brings me true joy. It's the kind of work that never feels like work. So I want to thank you all for the opportunities I've had to serve our community thus far, including offering a parent's perspective to our attendance liaisons and contributing my evaluation expertise as a member of our district's strategic planning committee. And a huge thank you to Mr. Thompson and everyone at Barton for welcoming me into the school weekly to connect with our students with reading, practice, and math skills, and of course watching Harry Potter, which I got to do recently. Though I may not be serving on the board, I am committed to continuing to work alongside you all to support our students and our community. So please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out if there's any way I can better support us. Together, I know we can continue moving this district forward. Thank you.
Ms. Rita Hampton.
Good evening. I would like to congratulate my choice, Monique Kamal. But I also want to talk about Dr. Cheney. Dr. Cheney, you have class and deep understanding of what is what. After our talks, I would say, how wise you are, and you're so young. I wish I'm gonna grow up and be like you or the next time around. This was my 70th Kim passing out literature. 70 years I've been doing this with my dad since 1956. This is the first time I was ever harassed on passing out as a canvasser literature. I would like to talk about, you say don't mention it, but I'm gonna just throw it out there and say, Debbie Piles harassed me on the campaign trail. I don't speak to them, there's a reason. My grandmother Sweet said, light came around with light, light talk with light. I don't talk to them. Their hands are full of mendacity, they lie and cheat, and there's some indication of thievery. All I want to say is, you don't shout at me at, hi Rita, I'll say that, hi Rita, if I don't talk, don't keep it up, that's harassment. Then when you turn around and said, I'm just trying to be, I'm speaking, I want my time, watch my time, watch my time.
The board,
Watch my time,
board members.
watch my time.
What's the time?
Listen,
Madam President, you
So,
can cut her off because
watch
she's
my
not
time.
following the protocol.
Watch
She
my
is not to talk about individual.
Watch my time.
Okay. So she is not breach peace, she can speak.
It's not, no, she is just,
Ma'am.
not speak about
Ma'am.
individuals.
She can.
Okay, so then she
I'm sorry,
turns around
can you
and
make sure
says
she
to
has
me,
her, can you make sure she has her time?
make sure I have my time. She turns around and says, I'm just trying to be polite. I'm talking to people in the community. So that's okay, I never responded, because I know what this is about. So I sit down in front of my little meat car in the trunk part, it's parked in the parking lot. She comes behind me and starts screaming in my ear. She's only this far from me. She's got illegal literature. You got illegal literature. That literature is illegal. Still ignoring, continue on to my job. That's malicious felony to me. That's the same kind of felony was brought up
Madam
on.
President, she is making accusations and.
That's malicious, watch my time, watch my time.
Madam President, we need to follow the school board policy
Watch
that
my time,
people will
okay.
not come into public meetings and attack
Watch my time.
and disturb the peace, which she is doing. She is
Trustee
verbally
Evans,
attacking.
can you please let her finish?
No, because this is not right.
Trustee Evans, can you please let her finish?
No, because that is against board policy.
It's against the law to interrupt her. She's not breaching the peace. She can come up here and basically say whatever she wants to say. I actually learned that in training.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, it's a malicious felony, the same malicious felony was brought upon this district by her cohorts. I had never been so embarrassed because the community was standing there talking to me. People recognize my voice. I want you to hear me, community. This is what happened. I don't have to lie. I don't lie. I don't have to lie. It was humiliating, and I did feel threatened. You don't come behind me. She wanted to talk to me, she just came in front. She came behind me and started screaming. It is illegal to harass poll workers. It is illegal to harass canvassers. It is illegal to harass people who are doing their citizenship. Thank you.
Thank you. We don't have anything further. Thank you. I just wanna clarify the reason why all that just transpired. The public has the right to speak. Yes, they can speak and say names. They can speak and say pretty much whatever they wanna say, as long as they're not crossing the threshold and threatening any board members physically. We cannot take away their time. They get 3 minutes, and that's the rule. If anybody wants to go to legal, I've checked this. I took 2 classes up there to verify because I know that we have these things in our community. So we're gonna move forward. Anybody that comes forward to speak to the board, you have your 3 minutes to speak. Now, if it gets too threatening and things of that sort, we'll handle that, but people have a freedom of speech, we can't take that away. And also, board members are not supposed to go back and forth while the public is speaking. Now, that is policy. We have a presentation from RHS National Honor Society by Kathy Smith. Welcome.
Kathy Smith, could you at least show yourself so we know who Kathy Smith is, please? Thank you. And if you don't mind, would you come up there with her?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Morgan Shropshire. I'm a seventh grader at Romulus High School, and I was secretary.
Could you move to the, we need to hear you.
There you go.
What you have to say is valuable. You could just come up to the microphone, or if you want to hold the microphone. Thank you. And I want to hear your name again, please, so that I can give you the proper courtesy as well.
Hello, my name is Morgan Shropshire. I'm a 12th grader at Romulus High School. I was secretary at NHS last year.
Didn't I just see you at the Achievement Award? Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What is NHS and what does it do? First of all, NHS stands for National Honor Society. The NHS programs empowers and equips students with the knowledge and skills to be transformative leaders in our school, community, and beyond. NHS promotes scholarship, leadership, service, and character among students. The NHS is all about recognizing and promoting excellence in high school students. NHS also focuses on developing leadership skills, encouraging community service, and building strong character. I cannot speak up for everyone, or can't speak for everyone, but being a part of the NHS, I'm motivated to aim higher academically and become role models in my school and community. While being in part of NHS, I have learned to be disciplined, enthusiastic, and humble. Me and my fellow NHS members have worked together to help the school, community, and each other through our volunteer hours. A few activities we have volunteered at is Bar Spectacular, Christmas events, Romulus barbecues, senior award night, mayor dinner, and including our future events, Santa's Crunch and Santa's Shop. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, no, that's not how this works. Where you going? No, that's not how this works. Come on back. Come on back. That's not how this works here. We have an opportunity to ask questions because a lot of us don't know what you do. Okay, so all I want you to do is just, if you can answer it honestly, to your knowledge, then please. If you can't, then that's fine. Were you all at the polls? Did you work the polls at NHS? Somebody worked the polls. Some of our students, so I understand 6, so I didn't know if they were just volunteering or if it was an organization that did it. I was very proud of them. That wasn't you. Okay.
But I did encourage them to vote.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that. So did I. I made it on, never mind, I'm all set. I'm not set.
5.5.
Yes, thank you, thank you, Mr. Barnett, so, Ms. Kathy Smith, if I may. What are your plans, for NHS? I know the district did a fundraiser, we had a fundraiser, we supported NHS. Is there anything that you can share, like, what are your ideas as a facilitator? I know you're not used to getting money like that, and now you have it, but is there any ideas that you have trying to move us forward? Or Ms. Shropshire, either one, what are your dreams and
You can
goals?
ask Morgan today. I put it in their lap today because we had our meeting today, after school, and it's their money. That's what I told them. What do you guys wanna do? There was a lot of ideas. We haven't made up our mind what we wanna do.
Got any ideas? Like, can we have one or two?
And one of them said she wants
How
to
does
jump
it work?
around, right? And who was it? It was Alyssa? Yeah, Alyssa said she wants to go somewhere you can jump around. That's one of the things. She wanted to go to some kind of, but everything opens late, but they didn't realize that I would spend Saturday with them too.
So like, trampoline park? or something?
Trampoline thing or something like that. And there was a lot of different things. They don't wanna go to Cedar Point because that's a senior trip, so they don't wanna do that. And we thought about a couple of different things. They're thinking about it till the next meeting.
Well, I'd like to be, at some point, I go to student government meetings and student council. When I'm invited, they put me on the calendar, I'll be there on Wednesday. But I'd be glad to come in, if it's after school, I'm fine with that, whatever you'd like. I'd just like to see what's going on and give some ideas. If you can't think of ideas, I'll certainly give you some ideas, but I wanna feel NHS around not only the school, I wanna feel them around the community. There's a lot of things that we can do. It's service oriented. There's things that you can do with giving back to your own elementary school. You wanna jump around, go see Miss Layla Dunn back there. She's got plenty of early childhood kids who would love to jump around with you. So there's plenty of things, if you can't think of things that you can do to volunteer in the community, I will be glad to sit down with you and be able to share some of the things that you can do here to make an impact. So, Ms. Smith, on behalf of the entire school board and myself, I wanna thank you for your dedication to our organization. Ms. Shropshire, it's tough to get up and have to speak in front of anyone, let alone adults. So, I just wanna thank you for that and representing the National Honor Society, so congratulations.
Next, we have a food service presentation by Chartwells.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to serve dinner today. I don't quite have a presentation, it's more just kind of a meet and greet. I know that I haven't formally introduced myself as Chartwells. We've been working with Ramos for the last year. We're in the business of building, we're too close.
Yes, you have to move to.
Oh, gotcha.
There you go.
I'm in the process of trying to build trust
Nice.
in students, trust with you, with the board. I really have a good vision of what I want this program to look like, and we're starting to see in our participation. Right now, we're currently at about 74% for the high school for lunch, which is amazing for me. I can see the vision in my team, I can see the positive atmosphere that we're creating. It helps with the equipment that we're getting. There are still some visions to take care of, and we have a plan. But I love the team we're working with, I love the school district, I'm happy to be part of it, and I just want to leave it open to you. I know there might be questions. I know I haven't been able to formally meet you this last year, so thank you for the opportunity to meet you this year.
Thank you very much for dinner. It was delicious. I spoke with your employees that were in there, or the workers, however you want to phrase them. They are so excited to be working for Chartwells. They love the administration. Those are the words that I was told. And they were so happy to serve and just meet with us and talk to us. And that's very enlightening. I can't say that we've always had that relationship with all food service companies, but the food was delicious and the atmosphere was great also. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Madam President? Thank you for the information you shared and for also inviting us to eat what our students eat daily. And that is genuine thanks, because in the past, we've had food service companies that prepare food for the board members, and it is nothing like what our students get. And so we're eating well, but we're hearing from students that they don't like the food. So thank you for giving us exactly what our students were offered today. And the options are wonderful, the taste is great, and keep up the great work. We are happy to have Chartwells in this district.
Thank you, thank you. Honestly, the equipment that we got last year helps us, we use a lot more fresh foods, we use a lot more vegetables and fruit this year than we were able to last year, because we can actually prepare them. Last year, I tried to do potatoes in one of the elementary schools, it took about 6 hours to cook them together than they had there, so this is a lot better, a lot easier, so thank you for that.
Yeah, and I'd like to say, because Wednesdays and Thursdays I'm here, and that won't be for too long. But I just want to thank you for, we had that excess cafeteria fund that you have to spend every year, spend down. So I appreciate that we were able to work with you, and you're working with Jason, Mr. Perkins right there. I have some ideas, and we were able to have those things come to fruition, but they wouldn't have been able to come to fruition without your support. Also with our elementaries, we had some ideas for that, and you're like, hey, we need new ovens, we need some things. So I just appreciate you being active. You know what's going on, which is great, because I've been in places where they don't. Somebody has to come from another city to come here and say, oh yeah, what do we do again there? So it's nice having you pretty much on site, and then when I email you, I get quick response too. I just want to thank you, because I do feel that you're part of the team. yes, I recognize you as Chartwell, but I certainly recognize you as a team and being able to help us move the district forward, particularly when it comes to cafeteria things and food service. So thank you and your team. I get to see them. Admittedly, lunchtime is the worst part of my day when I come here. I just can't. That's gone on for like 20 years of my life in administration. Just not my favorite, but a great time to sit down with kids and talk to them. So I'm just saying, appreciate your work. Thank you so much, and to your staff as well.
Awesome. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Are you willing to share that recipe for that chimichurri sauce?
Man, just come to my house. I got plenty of food for you that tastes good.
All right, Madam President, be resolved that the Board of Education approves the November 11th, 2024 consent agenda as presented. Matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine in nature by the Board of Education and will be acted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If any member of the board or any citizen requests discussion of an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will become the first item of business under the report of the superintendent portion of the agenda. A, approval of the minutes of the Board of Education. 1, October 28, 2024 regular board meeting. 2, October 28, 2024 closed session meeting. B, approval of the bills for payment as submitted by Dr. Maria Gistinger in the amount of $2,717,388.01. C, October 2024 financial statement.
Support. And motion by Davis, supported by McCarthy. Davis,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Piles,
Yes.
Kennard,
Yes.
Webster is yes, Laster. Yes. Motion is approved. Thank you. We are now at the report of the superintendent. Dr. Edmondson, with the district update.
Real fast, just a couple of things. I wanted to make the board aware, as well as the community, that we now have fences on all of our elementary school playgrounds. That wasn't asked before, I think it might have been said before, but I'd just like you to go and look and see. And, I'm gonna give kudos here to Jason Perkins. I try to give everybody, I would say, but just appreciate the fact that he's come in here and helped us move this district forward in terms of our facilities and things that have been asked for years, or in some case, multiple years. Haven't been able to get done. That's no blame on anybody at all, so don't try to make it an issue, because it's not. But the fact is that he has come here, he and I were working with a few people on that issue in particular. We visited the schools to see them, and it's just wonderful that we now have fences on all of our work, all of our playgrounds. So, to the Board of Education, thank you. To Jason Perkins and his staff, I want to say thank you for that. I said it briefly, but I'll say it again. We had students, Mr. Petty's leadership and someone else, we had students that were volunteering at the polls. Hey, I don't know what they saw, but you know what? I know what they said. And I'm not gonna repeat it, but it was really nice that students know their superintendent. I'll say that. Absolutely, I will say that they know what I do, who I am, and I appreciate it. But they were working at the polls, so it's good to see. I went to the Flyers games on Saturday. That was fun. It was just fun. But the thing that I left with is, for those that don't know, the Flyers are the Romulus Flyers football team. So we have the freshmen, the JV, and the varsity. And I couldn't help but to look and think how many kids we lose. How many kids we're not capturing. And I have ideas. If you want to capture your community, there's things that you do. People have got to show up. People with titles need to be where they're supposed to be with these type of things going on, with them going on. And I know I made a phone call to everybody yesterday. It should have gone out. I think most of you got it. And I mean what I say. Imagine what our district would be if we were one district and people weren't putting our kids every other place. I will continuing to work on putting the district out there and trying different things and trying to move us forward and try to improve our perception and how we're received as well, reception. So I'm gonna continue to do those things in my role. I will continue to be present where I'm supposed to be present. On Friday, we got a bus for our high school students. I told them if we can get 80 students, we'll get 2 buses. We achieved that. we got 80 students. So we had 80 students go to the football game. I couldn't be more proud. Some of us were there to see it. I couldn't be more proud. No nonsense, things that people might expect. I didn't expect it. If you expect good things, usually you'll get them. But kids behaved wonderfully. They had signs for kids. It was just wonderful that we paid for the buses. We also paid for them to get in, and it was a great atmosphere, as well as the flyers. I did not go to the cheerleaders competition on Sunday. I apologize that I did not make that. But all of our kids deserve to be recognized as much as we can. We are one Romulus, and the mayor says that we are one Romulus, and I'm trying to be one Romulus too. So I just wanted to say that to the board. I'm now going to give us a 2-minute and 44-minute video from Adam Dennison, our Director of Integrated Technology. When I was here last time and I presented at the middle school the drones, what we're doing, what the city is doing, and how we're trying to work with them, I can tell you that we have a team of 3 people that are going to Atlanta. That would be Mr. Brock, it would be Mr. Dennison, and it would be Dr. Nelson, who's our coordinator of CTE. We're going to look at drones at high schools, a couple of high schools, and there's like a conference that's going on for 2 or 3 days. It was last minute, but you know what? All of Wayne County was invited. Some of us knew it before others, but the superintendents were last to know. So we just found out like 2 weeks ago, got people on, they're going on a plane, and they're gonna go deliver some information and bring it back, excuse me. But what you're gonna see now is where we're invited. We are invited now, and Adam will talk a little bit about it, but it's in Wayne County, and this is a drone program, and it's important for me. And some people don't like when I say this, but a large portion of our students are African American, and we have got to embrace technology. We have got to embrace where this world is going, where you get left behind. So we're gonna make sure that our generation is not left behind. So I'm gonna turn this over to Adam. This is Wayne County, some of the things that are going on that you will be seeing. They gave us an opportunity, I think, for, how many, Adam, 4? 4 was it, what was it? No. 4 drones ready to go. Right, 4 drones ready to go, and Mr. Dennison is pretty passionate about it. I think we're gonna get 2 or 3 other people, but my rule is you have to be passionate. I don't want people to just do it for the money. Nobody's excited when you're doing something for money. They're excited because you show the passion. Mr. Dennison's passionate. Turn it over to you, Mr. Dennison.
Every school to offer something like this. This is a drone competition at Frederick Douglass Academy. This event is a culmination of a lot of work on the part of the students to develop their drone expertise, being able to fly the drones through the different rings at different heights. There's 2 components to that. There's one where the student actually flies the drone themselves as a pilot. The other one is programming the drones so that they can fly autonomously through that maze.
Autonomous drones are not piloted. We use drone blocks for our drones. We use tele-VDU drones. One of the things I did was the VCR. There were about maybe a little over 20 scripts in total. It was like launch, fly forward however many inches. Y'all would just turn, and I did clear 2 hoops. I bounced off of the 3rd hoop, but I still made it and landed back on the landing pad.
Part of the work with the MySTEM network is to lift up non-traditional STEM students to move into a STEM career pathway. When they have positive experiences in the classroom, actually starting at the elementary level, then they start thinking, well, maybe I could do this, maybe I could be an engineer. We continue that on from the middle school all the way to high school, where our students actually start taking dual enrollment, so college courses for free. And so now they believe that they can actually move into that STEM career pathway, which is what we're trying to do. Coming into drone, I was like, man, I had like anxiety of me crashing the drone and breaking it. But I learned how to repair the drone, and it's a simple fix. So once I gained more confidence on it, I learned that I actually like drones. I love them. It's a passion. It's not something I'm doing just to do it. I'm doing it because I want to do it. And I also plan on like getting my drone Part 107 license, because we take the test in the next 2 weeks. So we take our drone test and our GIS test. So we'll already have those certs going into college. So we'll be qualified for jobs with 6 figures just off of what we learned here. OHM Advisors is actually hiring one of these students right here for the summer to fly drones in applications that our business partners are engaged in right now. My class is the first class to officially graduate through the pathway, which is awesome.
and we just want to lay the foundation down. A lot of students here come from similar backgrounds to myself. So I want them to see if I'm doing it, if I'm taking care of business, and I come from same place you come from, similar, then you can do it as well.
This will be coming to our school district. Adam, I don't know if you wanted to touch on anything or you good? That doesn't work.
Yeah, I was gonna cover it a little bit, I'm coming to my report, but that video shows just barely scratches the surface, on what these drones, what they're being trained to do with these drones. Myself, Dr. Edmondson, Mr. Brock, we met with the mayor, and some of those people at the grad who saw the video through the MySat. And in this area and other areas, they're already doing so much with drones. They've already tested, delivering, critical organs from Romulus to the hospital in Taylor. The mayor talked about in the next 5 to 10 years, you're gonna see an Amazon truck, going in your neighborhood, and you're gonna have drones come out of it and deliver all these packages. Cause we're a central hub, we've got, Amazon's right here, FedEx is right here, Kroger's right here, everybody's right here, and they're all starting to use this technology. So what this program essentially do is help kids, the students get the Part 107 license and have jobs right out of school.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's just like, we brought esports here, here's another opportunity that we're trying to provide, trying to give kids who may not have an opportunity somewhere else, or this is what they do, and they're finally like, wow, my school's doing it too. So I couldn't be more thrilled about what this is gonna look like by the time I walk out of these doors. Hopefully it'll be longer than I think, but what this is gonna look like for our kids having this type of opportunity. So Adam is real passionate about that, so listen, I'm not gonna get in the way of anybody that's passionate about drones. Back off and let him do his thing and let him decide who he thinks has the same type of passion, or will put something out there. There are two parts to this though, that kids are gonna learn how to fly, that's the easy part, but when they have to program it and do some other things and repair, that is a part of this program too. Because they wanna get kids involved in STEM. So it's not just learning how to fly, that seems like the easy part. There's more to it that's gonna come with that. Have we developed what we're gonna do yet? No. We'll get the 4 drones, and they basically said, you're free to do whatever you'd like to, but we want you to come into the competition at the end of the year. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. And the last 2 things for me, just a reminder, as I sent out to the high school, parent-teacher conferences, and that's everybody in this district. I encourage you as a parent, if you can hear this, you'll get a message from me. We want and need active parents. One of the best things that I can do is ask a parent this: what's the name of your child's teacher? If I get silence, I already know. So everybody should know who their child's teacher is. You need to show up, even if your child is a wonderful student. It's a great opportunity to hear that, or to confirm that you're a student. But students that are struggling or behind in credits need to be at teacher conferences. So this year, we're doing a little bit of something different through MyStar. We're gonna track which parents show up, okay? We're gonna track which parents show up, so now I can use that data, and I can use it with parents, and I can use it to address them and say, why weren't you there? Because I'm not taking excuses. Particularly at the end of the year, don't ask me, can your child walk across the stage? If they don't, they're not gonna do it. Didn't do it before, not gonna do it. So we're gonna do that, and then we're also trying to do something with MyStar where we're gonna be tracking who athletes are, because I wanna see how well they're doing as a collective, so that's gonna be coming. Last thing for you all, I'm not gonna tell you what this means, but I'm gonna ask you to look it up. Learned helplessness. It's a thing. It's a thing. Is it a thing here? It's a thing. Learned helplessness. I'm not gonna go into great detail about that, but I want you to know what it is, because I am gonna talk about it. Because as you know, as a superintendent, I'm not afraid to address anything, okay? I'm not embarrassed. It's the bottom line is, if you want something to change, you have to talk about it. You don't sit there like it doesn't exist. It exists. Learn helplessness. If you get an opportunity, please look it up. Educate yourself a little bit, and then think about what you see when you walk into our schools and what you do as an adult. Okay, because learned helplessness is a serious thing, and it absolutely can dismantle a school district. I'm gonna leave it like that. Thank you to the board. Thank you for my report and listening to my report. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. We are now at the report of the Director of Human Resources, Mr. Kevin Brock.
All right, good evening, Board of Education. Before I get started, I wanted to acknowledge when Mr. Dennison comes up and talks about the drones and when he talks about the other programs he brought here, neither of those programs are part of his job responsibilities. Those are all passions that he has, that he's brought with him. I can remember when we interviewed Mr. Dennison, one of the questions I think that was asked was, you know, from him was, how much do I have to have input in the education part? I just want to work on systems. But yet here he is, bringing education to our kids. So I think it's awesome, and he's acknowledged that the programs that he brings are passion. And it's contagious. Same thing with Brian from food service. When I got here, the food service was not at all compared to what it is today. With the folks that work in our system, a lot of them are 80 or 90% of them are the same people that we had before. When you walk into these kitchens, it's a noticeable difference. He brings with him a passion about food, a passion about serving kids, and a passion about making sure our kids are participating, and that's just because he's a good human, I think. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that, you know, here's a guy that came from the private sector, worked for Panera Bread, came into public education and is doing a great job. So I appreciate Brian. He is very responsive. He's very into what's going on in his program. Works very closely with Mr. Perkins on getting all of these things that we need so our kids can have the food that you all had tonight. So I want to thank Brian as well. So thanks for Chuck Rose and Brian. There's a few folks that I'd like to bring up here, and we'll do them individually. I have started to ask people to come and do a presentation, not really a presentation, but if we're seeking something, I'm happy to do it, but it always means a little bit more. It's a little different coming from the person who might be seeking to get something or ask for something from the board. So our first one tonight is Ms. Leela Dunn. She is our administrator over RECC. So Ms. Dunn, would you like to come up?
Good evening. Good evening. So to segue that, I'm here to propose an increase for my admin assistant, Sandy Solgott. And just as Kevin was saying, you know, acknowledging individuals who really have a passion, who really come to work, and who are really loyal. So she is the administrative assistant at RECC, and she's been there several years before I came on board. And some people know that there's been a transition with directors and leadership at RECC. And even in times when there was no leadership or a strong leadership presence, she still stayed consistent, and she picked up whenever needed. Anytime something needed to be done, she was there, never said how many hours I didn't get paid anything extra. Her passion is there and her loyalty. Why am I nervous, Kevin? I never get nervous. So tonight, board, I'm here to propose an increase in her salary. The current salary for Sandy, she is making $20.62 per hour. With the year set contract salary of $42,900. I am proposing an increase to $49,920, which would be $24 an hour for the remainder of the 24-25 school year ending June 30th. I have researched several other districts in Wayne County with some of the other early childhood specialists, seeing what some of the admin assistants are making, what the range of salaries are. The range is between like 24, 26, some actually higher, but that was the average for GSRP. So I'm asking the Board of Education to consider an increase for Sandy Solgott. The admin assistant salary is funded by the Wayne Louisa grant. It's our Great Start Readiness grant, and it is great. It is The GSRP grant provides 88% of that salary for that position. The Smart Start position is our tuition program at RACC, and 12% of that program is funded, or her salary will be funded by the Smart Start as well. So all of the salary is included in the GSRP grant that we receive from Wayne Lisa. I am requesting the rate increase to align with competitive pay for the admin position for GSRP. Sandy has demonstrated consistency and professionalism since March of 2018. Her loyalty and passion to maintain a quality program is respected by all of her peers. She continues to meet all of the challenges with the new guidelines for universal pre-K. So even in the GSRP program with the new initiative for free preschool for all, for our pre-kindergartners, there's been a lot of changes. We need to make them quick and implement them for the fall, which we have done for this school year. She just had an audit with Wayne Lisa files are impeccable, so there's no questions. We just had an audit last week looking at those. So again, so for that, I am here for that, proposing a rate increase for her salary. Do I, what did I just do? Sure. Okay. On the bottom, so real quick, so on the bottom of my form, I'm also, so for the 23-24 school year, we have a carryover in our budget. So we finalize everything at the end of the year, we have a carryover around 15,000 and some change. I've been working with Mark Graham. So usually when you have a carryover, when Lisa would like to see that go into salaries. We have to allocate that and spend that by December 31st. So what I'm proposing is that with my $15,600 and change carryover funds be allocated for a bonus and retention, placing it into salaries, and that my staff would receive a bonus with that carryover fund in the amount of $700 per staff. So that would be a retention bonus, so that's something that I used to in my past career, is looking at staff who continue to report, and all of my staff returned again this year, which is a plus. So I'm also proposing to use those carryover funds from my grant for that bonus. Good job. All right.
So again, I'd like to thank Ms. Dunn again. She does a great job at RACC. She was already here with our other early Head Start program. If you recall, we did a bonus last year for these folks because there was carryover dollars as well. This board authorized that as well. I think it's important to know one thing that, and if I'm wrong, Ms. Dunn, please correct me, but I believe when Lisa came to her and let her know that her administrative assistant was underpaid, that they recognized it during an audit, if I'm not mistaken, so during the discussion. So I think it's important to know that. So Mr. Dennison is here to talk about 2 potential positions. And again, none of this is on the board this evening, it's just for presentation purposes. Yes.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
Mr. Brock, at one point, this was years ago, and I understand it was years ago, this admin assistant was part of the Local 64 position.
Mm-hmm.
Where does this salary fit into their level of rates?
So it's a little bit higher, we just settled that contract recently, so I would say without looking, it's maybe $3 or $4 more per hour. So it's a little bit more.
Than the highest secretary in the
Not the
district?
highest,
No,
no, just
okay.
looking at the base.
Right, but so with her years of experience, you would have to consider the highest salary, the highest step because of the years of service.
Yeah, it's close, I don't have the numbers.
No, but so
It's close.
we're not cutting her short and we're not cutting Local 64 short, is my question.
I don't wanna say that, I mean, I would say if I was
We
a
have,
little 64.
well, do we wanna be fair across the board,
I
right?
say we wanna be consistent.
Consistent, right?
Sure.
Okay, so you would consider that falling into the consistent category?
I would say that's gonna fall into the upper range
Okay,
of where they will end up at the end of the contract.
okay. Thank you very much.
Sandy's 12. 12-month.
Sandy's 12 months.
She's a 12-month,
Yeah.
so she would be a secretary one if she fell into the category.
Yeah, we don't have secretary ones anymore.
Well, okay,
But yes.
but I'm
You're
talking,
not-
like I said, this is from years ago,
Yeah.
like I said.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Denson's here to talk about two potential, positions that are so desperately needed within the district, so I got it. Just wanna get this out before I answer those questions. We've talked a lot about this at cabinet. Mr. Dennison has expressed this need, I think, since the day he got here, about our cybersecurity and our analyst positions. This is nothing new for us, obviously it's new for you, but, trustee Piles, if you have a question, sorry.
I did, yeah, so, the local 64 contract isn't, posted on our website. We had, so I can't reference that, all of our admin assistants were all in that union, but the admin assistants that are employed, that work at central office were removed. So, do you have a copy of the current collective bargaining agreement so we can see if that admin specifically is in it or not?
I guess I'm confused at the question.
Okay,
Which
so
admin are you talking about?
for RECC, so we
She's
had,
not in the
She's
contract.
not, that's why I said that, Debbie, she's not part of that contract.
so she was removed along with the,
I don't know, I wasn't here for that, I don't know when, or if they were removed, or if it was a position that was filled outside
Yeah,
of the
well,
contract.
10 years ago it wasn't in there.
Okay,
So.
I don't have that information.
You said she was not in her 10 years.
10 years ago, when I became president of the local, they were not part of that contract, but it was written in the old contract. That's why I wanted
When I
to.
first go around either, I had that conversation, I get raised that.
Mr. Dennison.
Good evening, board. What you should have, some job descriptions in front of you, two job descriptions. And basically what I'm looking to do is, basically reconstruct, the IT department. What we have now is essentially, a network specialist position and a tier one, a tech support position that are part of the I've got a couple individuals, three, that have been interviewed elsewhere. And I have a really good team, and doing a little bit of research on the average salary for a network specialist nowadays is $65,000 a year. And right now, our network specialists are making about $22 an hour.
How much?
$22 an hour.
22 an hour?
Yep. So, what I propose is a junior systems administrator and a IT security analyst one. Now these two positions would work together hand in hand. I would not backfill, I would hire within my department, I'm not adding any more. I would just be moving personnel into those positions. And one of the big thing that drives this, as Kevin said, is cybersecurity. Now, I don't know if you remember I think it was my first week on the job here. We almost got hit with ransomware on our payroll machine. I was very frantic and I immediately plugged the internet cable from the back of that machine, and we went ahead and we bought endpoint protection for all the district computers, because there wasn't any, right? This district, my department was in shambles, and I'm still picking up the pieces, right? But one of the things that really drives this is the security. The last thing I want, and I lose sleep over this, is I don't want to be the district that is on the front page of the newspaper, the news channels here interviewing myself and Dr. Edmondson because we were hit with ransomware. K-12 is a big target with ransomware, huge. because they know that we are understaffed and underfunded, in the technology department. I can list, and I will, Rockford, for instance, Rockford was hit with a $500,000 ransomware. Centerline, all of Jackson County schools, Detroit Edison, Bloomfield Hills, West Bloomfield, Rochester, Utica, Armada, Fulton, Grand Rapids area schools, Orchard View, Johannesburg, and all of Traverse City areas public schools, okay? They have all been hit. I recently attended a session in the fall conference where all the tech directors in the state come together, and Traverse City was there in a presentation. They got hit with ransomware the last couple of days of spring break. They shut down everything. They had to collect every single staff device and every single student device and wipe it. They were down for another week. Now, what concerns me is if that's a lot of work on the IT department. But what if payroll gets hit? Nobody's getting paid. What if the HVAC server gets hit? And it's the middle of winter and it freezes pipes? Then what are we talking about? Okay, we're talking busted pipes. We're talking it's a trickle down effect, right? So I really want to beef up the security for one, and get my team salaries that they deserve as well. I don't know how much more I can say on this. And I just kind of want to go down the list of things that myself and my team has already accomplished in my first year. And I would just ask the board to continue to support my passion for technology in K-12. We've already upgraded the phones. We've added some hardware into the phones where we can attach every person's desk phone to a cell phone. We've added endpoint protection, which I just talked about. Digital signage in all of the buildings has been completely redone. I'm actually working with a company tomorrow. We're putting cameras, a lot more cameras out at the football field, concession area. We're putting Wi-Fi out at the football field. After school program, esports was started, where kids can earn scholarships and not just gaming, but event planning, shoutcasting, IT. There's billions of dollars in scholarships in just esports alone. Our new web filter, parent app for Chromebook monitoring, so parents can monitor what students are doing online while they're at school and outside of school. They can control the Chromebook. Central office PC upgrades, cybersecurity training for our staff. I am purposely sending out fake emails to try and catch our staff members, because that's all it takes. All it takes is one click, one bad click on a bad email, that's all, and it could really set us back. What's coming soon, Raptor visitor management. I'll be attending in Woodhaven tomorrow with a couple of secretaries, and this is it's a digital visitor management piece, but it also checks against the sex offender registry immediately. A new Chromebook policy for true one-to-one. So students, we have these Chromebooks expire, so to give the students an opportunity to keep that Chromebook once they graduate high school. Because those that keep getting expired, and we have to get rid of them anyways, so there's their device. So I'm just asking for, please, consider my job others. I'm in IT and I'm speaking in front of people.
Madam President. So, Mr. Dennison, you had said that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you didn't want to, basic question, you have employees already in place to take these positions?
I would have them interview for them, yes.
So-
I would not be hiring outside.
Okay, so will you be increasing your staff by this many people, or no, that's what I wanted to know. So you're taking people and changing their titles?
Yes, so, to help better understand, so I like to describe IT as if you're going to the doctor, okay? everybody specializes in a certain thing. You wouldn't go to the foot doctor to get your heart looked at, okay? It's the same thing with IT. When you go into IT, you don't just study, there's a whole big umbrella, okay? There's system administrators, there's software design, there's web design, there's cybersecurity, there's all kinds of different avenues that you go, right? And I have people in place, I've got one in place already, but her specialty is cybersecurity. I've got one in place that, he's going for coding, he's studying software design. I've got one that is a sysadmin, that can do tons of stuff, so if that helps at all.
No, that's fine, because I thought I had understood that you were not making additional positions, you were just changing,
Correct,
you were
correct,
taking people and giving them different titles.
yes.
Thank you.
Madam President, Mayor.
Yes.
So I just want, for my clarification, I'm gonna piggyback off of what, trustee Evans just asked you. So, for clarification, these are just job title changes. How many do you actually have in your department? You might have gave us that number earlier.
I have 5.
You have 5. Okay. All right, so first of all, I want to say, thank you very much for all your services. I've been keeping up and managing and watching and looking for things and listening to, individuals throughout the district as well as, those who go into our websites and looking at certain things. And so today you're talking more about cybersecurity and so forth and everything, but there's also, yeah, and so I'm glad you mentioned the fact that there's other elements and platforms that falls within the technology piece. And all the things that you just told us that you've done is very impressive, particularly coming from where we were. And
I'm just getting started.
Yeah, right.
I'm just getting started.
Oh, I know you are. And so I'm looking forward to where you're going to take us. But one of the things when I was out on the campaign, listening to some of, the public and individuals, and that was the upkeep of our website, that design and what have you. And I know we have a third party, at least I thought we did. I don't know where we are with that because we haven't had any updates or any information provided. And so one of the things, and you don't have to give me the lowdown today, but I would believe it will fall under your administration, correct? Okay, in doing so, we want to know what that's going to look like in terms of what's needed. It needs a lot of work, yes it does, because they're saying that we can't get to, when you're looking at a website, when you ask the question 1, 2, 3, you should be there. Shouldn't be going beyond whatever, and we're not there, but it's better than what it has been. So at some point, we'd like for somebody to come back and give us an update on that in terms of where we're going and where does that fall?
Absolutely.
Hypothetically, under the individuals that you're speaking of today, is that gonna be under the new titles or someone is already doing it, or are you gonna be looking for someone to take on that responsibility? Am I asking too much?
No, you're good, you're asking good questions. So the goal is, really to provide, these positions will provide some form of supervisory in Adam's absence, or if we need people to take on some supervisory roles within the department, those will fall within that as well. So that's one of the reasons that we're looking to fill this, and Adam has been a big proponent of growing his own, right? So he's hired some really great people, and we're restricted sometimes in education by what we can pay people. And Adam's right, we had a really great staff member get approached and get offered a position to leave. I will tell you the big difference that I think is the reason they're not leaving is culture and climate. I think Adam has a department that's a rock star department. I think Adam's good to work with and work for. And I don't think these people want to leave, but we have to try to compensate. IT is such a different world. IT, you can come right out of high school and make a lot of money because if you're smart about it, you know what you're doing, you don't need a degree. And I think for some of us educators, me particularly, I have to get over the idea that some of these folks don't have advanced educations. And we're paying them we're paying some of them what we should be paying them, but some of them need to be paid more. So I think people like me who are, I would consider old school, that you have to have this advanced degree to make a certain amount of money, that has to go to the wayside. So I think that's why, what Adam has helped me understand is, Mr. Brock, you gotta get rid of that, because most of the folks that are good in the IT, they don't go to school. They might go get an associate's degree, and that's about it. Because what they know, they're getting online certification classes. So, yeah, he's put a lot of thought into this, and I don't know that I've answered your question, but I think it's important to know that we have a great group of folks, and we're trying to keep those people so that Mr. Dennison can continue moving this place forward.
I'm glad you mentioned that because there's other high schools in the area that offer IT courses as a high school course, and you can get certified in high school and get a job right away. We're not doing that. Why are we not doing that? So that's another thing that I'm passionate about, and I plan on bringing to this.
Yeah, that is also a certification under the CTE. We have to look into some more of those things.
Yeah, some of them
bring
are
it towards.
CTE there.
Yeah, there's something, okay. There's a window open for where we can look into those things. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Is there gonna be an organizational chart for these people, or are you gonna have, who's first, who's second, who's third? I know I get that question, so I'm just being very, I'm very
You're gonna get the
serious.
question.
Kidding, but I already know it's coming.
There's no,
It's
You have the idea that you and then somebody agreed to, and then.
so the way I do it now, is I rotate between my network specialists. If I'm absent, then it's just the next network specialist to get a little bit of leadership experience. So I just kind of rotate them all. But there's no hierarchy within that group of 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well. Okay, 2 more, I promise. Thank you for all your patience. I'm gonna skip ahead to what's on your agenda. I'm gonna have Ms. Wendy Grish come up and join us. Wendy, because of her program's growth and some of the things that she's been doing in her program, she's been afforded the opportunity through a grant to have these 3 positions, one is a part-time position, come before you this evening. Again, this is just a presentation, these will be on the next board agenda for your approval. Should you approve these positions, these will get posted, we fall under her guidance. So Ms. Wendy Grish, come on now.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So the first we're asking approval for is to offer English second language classes, virtual synchronous classes through Romulus Adult Ed, and along with that, hire a full-time ESL teacher and coordinator. There's need for ESL in this area. We receive several calls every month inquiring about ESL in Romulus, and in Romulus itself, there are 1,500 residents who speak languages other than English in their homes. I also put some data down for neighboring communities. The proposed ESL classes will be free for adults. The cost to hire a full-time teacher and the curriculum for the classes will be paid for by the Adult 107 grant. There will be no cost to the district. Any questions on that one? The second that I'm asking approval for is to hire an adult education recruitment and retention specialist. Romulus Adult Ed applied for and received funding for this position for 2 years through the 107A Adult Education Innovative Grant. Romulus Adult Ed, as you know, has been growing steadily for the past 2 years, increasing enrollment by about 30% each year. We enroll students 11 months out of each year. Each month, we keep a list of prospective students who contact us via phone or our online forum. Each month, 50% of the students who express interest never follow through. We need someone to call them individually. Similarly, once we get students enrolled in the program, we lose 37.5% of them each year. They drop out, and an adult ed stop out, because oftentimes they'll come back later on. So we need a retention specialist to help these students stay in the program. One important thing about this position, I am really hoping to hire a graduate from Romulus Adult Ed for this position. All right, any questions about this?
Madam President? Yes. So on these positions, I don't see funding of any sort on how they're gonna be funded. Also, when you say a retention specialist and phone calls need to be made to the students, can an attendance officer or liaison, whatever their title is, can they take on this responsibility?
Well,
And that's
to give
probably
you
a
an
question
idea,
for
that's-
Dr. Edmondson, but
right, so, we just had a really large, about 150 people, expressed interest for our November registration that occurred in October. And then they registered the following month. So that in itself is about 75 phone calls that need to be made. So it's anywhere between 50 and 75 phone calls. And we don't pay for, the attendance liaisons are paid for out of general funds, and so everything we use is paid for out of adult ed funds. So no, we don't have that. Can't commingle the funds.
if we split a position, though, we could. So, okay.
But this was approved through a special grant, so.
So it is through a grant then?
Yeah.
So, okay, so
107
funding is through
grant.
grants,
Yes.
okay. That's why it doesn't say that on any of these positions, so it's
On the job
grant
description,
funding.
it does not, but it'll be in your
So-
motion, that's my fault, no.
We're not coming to the board with positions now and asking you to approve them now. Our goal was to just give you an update about what's coming on the next one. So we wanted everybody to be able to present so that if you have questions after that, you can give them to us. We'll
No.
respond to you so that in the next board meeting, boom, showtime. But I know what you're saying, but we didn't do that, we didn't
Okay,
put down.
so are we approving these positions, or this is
No.
just an?
No,
Just an FYI.
tonight.
Okay,
These are all
This is just,
these are FYIs,
yes,
okay.
you got it.
Well, when someone comes up and says, I'm asking for your approval, to me, that means we're approving the positions and they're going to be hired. So,
Next
thank
board
you for that clarification.
Next board meeting.
Okay, and then the third one that I'm asking approval for at the next board meeting, sorry about that, is to hire a part-time adult education tape tester and marriage reporting assistant. In this position, we need the IT staff. So we've seen a sizable increase in our 107 grant funding for the past 2 years, partly because of our increased enrollment and partly because of the state's increase in adult ed funding. So we actually can afford and need to hire someone to help with our burgeoning population. In the 22-23 school year, we had about 300 students per year. And then the following year, we had, prior to that year we had over 400 students. In 23-24, we had over 550 students. We expect to have well over 600 this year in our GED and high school completion classes. Right now, we have 433 students, which is about 80 from where we were just a year ago. So we're nailing it, we need help.
Madam President.
Questions?
Madam President, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for coming before us. For my clarification, these are additional positions to what you already have,
Yes.
correct? And so that would bring you to a total of how many?
So we currently have two full-time, we have our part-time enrollment specialist, who's half out of Gen Ed and half out of us. And then we have 6 part-time teachers, and then we are, yes.
Okay, and approximately, I know you probably don't know the numbers now, approximately how many of those students that you say you have about 60 that's in the program? 600, 400?
433 right now.
Okay, and out of that, how many do you anticipate on graduating?
On my list right now, I have 130, that'll grow.
Okay, the reason why I'm asking is because to put rumors to rest, I've heard that the program in terms of student enrollment had went down on adult education. So that's why I'm asking, so for clarification, you know, we're up. Okay,
Yes.
all right, thank you.
Other questions?
Yes, trustee Powers. Yes, I don't have a question, more of a comment. I know, just want to say, in the 8 years that I've served on this board, our VLC and our adult ed has grown every single year and grown exponentially. And our VLC and adult ed, they more than fund themselves. And additionally, I don't know why I said this before, I don't know why our adult ed program is seemingly the best kept secret, because we reach out and we get students from other cities and around, because we have the in-person option, we have virtual options, and people who come to us say how grateful they are and just attend one adult ed graduation. I mean, the level of gratitude and thankfulness that our graduates express, and the relationships that are visibly apparent between our graduates and our VLC and adult ed staff is just obvious. And the relationships, the trust, their success is clearly rooted in that, and they verbalize that. So I want to thank you for coming in and taking a great program and continuing to go forward and grow it and continue the relational element of that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, Debbie just said, Trustee Piles, I'm sorry, said everything that I was gonna say, and even when we went to the Delta meeting, you took it upon yourself to promote, like you're always speaking about the program, you're not keeping it a secret, and it was an honor to be at the graduation. Like it was very heartfelt, it was not like a dry eye, and you can tell the passion that you have, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Lastly, this is again more of an FYI. Back in September, the board authorized for the district to post and hire a dean of students for the middle school. The middle school interviewed, found a candidate. We held off for count day, which I think Dr. Edmondson is going to talk about, but our enrollment did not go down to the number that we thought it would be for budgeting purposes. But in any rate, we had the middle school hold off on hiring that position so that we could assess the number of students at the middle school and whether or not this position was going to be viable for us financially, trying to be fiscally responsible. I'm glad that we waited, because as we had conversations not just with the middle school but with the high school, we recognized the high school is in need of some support as well. It just so happens that this candidate is interested in doing part of the time at the middle school, part of the time at the high school. Again, this is just an FYI that you did approve it for the middle school, but we are going to utilize this person both at the middle school and at the high school. Dr. Edmondson, myself, and the middle school and high school staff. Administrative staff met last week to determine what that looks like. We were just there basically as, collaborators and supporters. We did not dictate what that should look like, because obviously I don't want to be involved in what that should look like, but they worked well together to determine what the schedule should look like. And so our plan is to onboard this person this week and get them started next week to start supporting the middle school and the high school, both buildings.
What you failed to say, which was fun, we had fun that day.
We did.
And listen, that shouldn't surprise you, we had fun, we're supposed to, if you spend all these hours here. But it was hilarious because the two principals were fighting to see who would get this person first. So to figure it out, they had the duel in ping pong. It was hilarious to see one principal against another in ping pong, and the loser lost gracious, well, it just got crushed. It was graceful, and I'm very excited. The person that was hired has a background in Romulus, knows kids in Romulus, and would be a wonderful addition here because she knows many of the students here, and everybody at this table knows her. We just haven't said the name but she comes highly recommended and went through a full process, and we just held off until now because we wanted to see the numbers. So I'm very excited about what she's going to do here. In terms of, this is a role of discipline, just so that you know, this role is not going into classrooms to evaluate. Our goal is to lay off of that and allow principals to go in, and they have to be instructional leaders, and they have to get to people that we need to get to. That's not like we're gonna sick them, but I'm just saying, that's what that role is. That person is not going to provide instructional support. That person's job is to do the discipline of specific students or the student body. But you gotta see the ping pong matches. So it's on video. We got it on video. We got it on video.
Questions from me?
So we're hiring someone, we're approving someone tonight to
You're
start?
not approving somebody tonight. I didn't want that approval.
Okay, well, you just said they're starting, you're onboarding them when?
It'll be next week, so they'll start before the next board meeting that you guys approve them at, which we can do per board policy. I wanted to have you update first to the board because we just had this conversation. I didn't want to bring somebody before you tonight and just surprise you and say, oh, hey, by the way, they're going to be doing this. I think it was prudent for me to share this with you and then have them on board next week so that the next board meeting, you'll hopefully approve the person in the position.
Madam President, ma'am.
Yes.
Mr. Brock, thank you very much. Finally, you have come before us prior to action items and telling us what you're gonna do and how we should be proceeding. This is something that we've been looking for some time now, and you came to us today with several things of updates, informing us, and so that moving forward, our next board meeting, this will be some things possibly on the agenda. Thank you very much for doing that today. Very informative.
Thank you, Dr. Brock. We are now at the report of the Director of Operations, the great Jason Perkins.
So I just have a couple things on the agenda for you guys tonight. The first one is to engage with a company by the name of Bidergy. Bidergy is an online auction company, so we're looking to auction off or dispose of unwanted or unneeded items in the district. An example of some of those items were, we replaced all of the cafeteria furniture. This is the old cafeteria furniture. We bought all new buses. This is the old buses. So looking to recoup some of those funds and auction off items. Just a few things to know for the board. We did already have the contract from Bidergy reviewed from our legal team, so we're covered there. And I referred to board policy where it basically stated that you guys needed a list, or the superintendent was the actual wording, of items to be auctioned off to be approved by the Board of Education, so that's why it's on the agenda tonight for approval.
Madam President and Board, recommended motion move that the Board of Education approves the Bidergy Internet Auction Agreement to auction items as listed. The rationale is dispose of unused items, budget implications to sell the school property, number 10-593-000-000-00000. The exhibits are in your board packet, the Bidergy agreement. Support.
It's been motion by Kenara, supported by Webster.
Quick question. Yeah, so there, we were given, the description of items, and, on here is 21 sewing machines. Are those the sewing machines that were purchased for students to use in Meadow Labs?
So that's a great question, and to be honest, I'm not sure of the answer. I just know that there's a bunch of items down here sorting the auto lab that have been sitting there in the corner, covered in dust for 9 months since I started, and that was one of them. If you guys feel that it could be a discrepancy of something going on with that, I'd be happy to exclude those items. That wouldn't be a big deal at all from the auction, but to answer your question, I'm not sure.
Right, so the reason I'm asking is in May of 2023, May 5th, I believe, it was brought to the board to vote to discontinue Meadow Labs as an offering during the school day. But we were told that there would be an after-school program for students who wanted to still pursue some of these labs we were offering extracurricular. And since we have removed it, we have had students, even this school year, come and say that, you know, we had taken away Meadow Labs. So I just want to find out if there was anything that was purchased for Meadow Labs, if we're able to have the after-school sessions like you had mentioned, Dr. Edmondson. And then also I wanted to know about the hot cold food wells, the stainless steel tables, a lot of this kitchen stuff. The reason I asked about that is because we had a motion come before the board multiple times with the same equipment, and I'm wondering if it was purchased more than once and now we're auctioning it off.
No, so they came twice before the Board of Education because remember they were ruined in the flood, so we bought all new kitchen equipment. This was right around the time I started, that kitchen equipment was damaged in the flood, insurance paid for it, and we repurchased it. So you are right, they did come before the board twice, but they definitely weren't purchased twice. Brian Eaton and I did a very extensive review of everything we were purchasing, all the equipment that was needed, was it still needed, updated the list and ordered accordingly. So, this would be for the old equipment, so we ordered the new equipment, all the new equipment has been installed throughout the district, and this would be the old equipment that was replaced.
Okay, and then my last question is, the items that were inside Merriman, will those be auctioned off?
I did not include them in this auction, I also foresee future auctions, the need for that within the district, so we can include it in this auction or also in an upcoming auction as well.
Has anything from Merriman or any surplus from any schools been auctioned recently?
Not since I've been here, no, I would seek board approval for something like that, per our board policy, so no, I haven't done anything like that since studying.
Okay, thank you.
Did you want an answer to your question?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
in terms of Metal Lab, I can tell you this, and I'm hoping at some point we can put that term away, I mean, we're still going back to it, but what I will say is that that's what we intended to do, but Metal Lab came back and said that they didn't want to do that, that's why we kind of fell out, that's what we wanted to do, is to have students do some of those things after school through Metal Lab, but that relationship was over. But if somebody wants to sew, listen, I'll open it up to the community. You want to teach sewing? Please, come teach sewing. If we have 9 sewing machines, I'm all for it if that's what somebody wants to do. But please don't expect that somebody from the staff has to do that. But again, to the whole community, I know there's people out there that are passionate about that. Love to see that. If we have 9 working sewing machines, why not? If somebody's willing to do it. So if you have somebody willing to do it, and I'm not saying you specifically, like, we have somebody willing to do it, fine. I don't know, I think they were Singer, that's the only brand I know, if there's Singer, and we can hold off on 9 if somebody's interested in going. Dr. Gardner looks like she sews.
I just hate seeing that it was go to waste, so when I see them sitting there in the corner of the auto lab, not being used for 9 months since I started collecting dust.
So, Madam President, may I?
Yes.
So the sewing machines, are they still packaged or were they just sitting out? You just never,
They're sitting on a pallet.
they just sitting, so they weren't tested to see?
No.
So possibly, Madam President and Board, if this is something that we need to review at a later date, I would recommend that we probably take that from the list and then
Of course, I'm happy to edit the list.
yeah, just edit and
per the
take that
board's
from
will,
the,
absolutely.
yeah, and then come back where the auction. Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes.
so if these are, trying to word this correctly, when we terminated the classes with Metal Lab, I requested at that meeting a physical inventory of the raw goods, the finished goods that were in the school store, and any of the buildings, because they had been making products in buildings, and all equipment. Has that inventory been done?
Not to my knowledge,
Okay, so then how do we know?
we don't know, I don't know.
Well,
We moved on
okay,
from Metal Lab, that's all I have to say. We moved
okay,
on.
well,
I don't
when I
know.
met with an investigator about Metal Labs, they have an inventory list.
Well, maybe they'll pass that on, because I know we're gonna hear from them very soon. So I'm sure that they'll be.
So are we in a lawsuit with Metal Labs?
We are not in a lawsuit with Metal Lab, you would know that if we were in a lawsuit, you would know that. We're not in a lawsuit with Metal Lab. Or maybe you do know.
Oh,
and
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
I'm asking,
Yes,
that's what I
not to my
asked.
knowledge, I haven't received anything in terms of a lawsuit. You would know that, the board would get that information. If there was a lawsuit, you would get that.
Madam President?
Yes.
If I may, in regard to the sewing machines, if it please the board to just, at least for now, remove those items from auction. Oh, they are going to be removed, okay. Do we need to vote on that separately though?
Trustee.
And right, to vote on it separately? Because the motion as it is includes all of these items.
Could you amend it, could you say, as presented minus sewing machines?
Yeah, we
Would
can
that
amend
be-
the motion. Somebody, yeah, I can do that.
And the other thing I just wanted to share with the board is, when we had these sewing machines, there was think of it maybe as kind of like a Shark Tank, thing, and there were three districts that went and presented business plans based on things they were doing in school. And there were actual judges from the state of Michigan and investors present. And there was a group from Romulus actually that created a business name, a business plan, and it was a fashion business. And our students had talked about how they get clothes that people aren't wearing anymore, they go thrifting, and they had then taken those and designed new clothes. They did a fashion show, and everyone in that audience was so impressed with our students. So if we could not just keep them and have them collect dust, as you said, but open up, maybe have something after school, and if we have an adult who's there to supervise, so that just our creative skills that our students have, they can explore them there and utilize this equipment that we've purchased instead of, selling it for a reduced cost.
So,
All right, and I appreciate that. I didn't want to say, listen, there are plenty of people who are passionate about that. And if we can get somebody just like we saw with drones, if you have somebody that's passionate about it, let's do it. They don't need to sit, if we have somebody, but I think it's reasonable, give it some time, let's put something out, from a district. Somebody wants to do it, that's fine. Then we got people asking how much, that's the next thing.
Alright, so trustee Kennard, is it okay that she reads the motion excluding the sewing machines? Thank you.
Okay. Just amend that motion.
all right, so amendment to the previous, recommended motion, move that the Board of Education approves the Bindery Internet Auction Agreement to auction items as listed, minus 21 sewing machines from the inventory list. The rationale is dispose of unused items. Budget implications are stated as previous, and exhibits of the binary agreement is in your board packet.
Support. It's been motion by Kennard, supported by McCarthy.
McCarthy?
Yes.
Kennard? Yes.
Evans?
Yes.
Hiles?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Lester, yes. Laster? Yes. Motion is approved.
Thank you, board, for the support. I would like to just make one final note too, that there are some needs within my department too, that I'm gonna be bringing to the board in the near future, that I would like for these funds to go towards those needs. A couple of them are vehicle needs, a couple of the vehicles are getting older and breaking down, and, a scissor lift is the other need within my department, so, I just kinda wanna give you guys a heads up that I'll be bringing those things forward in the near future, and I'm hoping that this is a way to maybe offset some of those funds.
Thank you.
Madam President, move that the Board of Education approves the administration to seek bids for the Romulus Middle School ceiling and lighting renovations. Rationale is building improvements, budget implications, sinking fund.
Support.
It's been motion by Davis, supported by Kennard. Any discussion? Roll call. Davis?
Yes.
Kennard?
Yes.
Evans?
Yes.
McCarthy?
Yes.
Hiles?
Yes.
Lester is yes. Laster? Yes. Motion carried. Thank you. We are at the report of board subcommittees.
Madam President, the Finance Committee will be meeting tomorrow at 11. So we have not met since the previous, board meeting. And Jason just spoke on some of the things that we will be having, no, that's coming up with the other board, so let me back up. So there are some things that, with the finance that we'll be discussing, on tomorrow, and we'll bring it back at the next board meeting.
Madam President, sinking fund / properties, we're meeting tomorrow also. And this next motion, or the previous motion, was part of the sinking fund meetings that we have held. We've talked about this in depth. We made a hit list of important topics, and that was one of the things that we touched on. Also, I noticed that the fencing, Dr. Edmonds already mentioned this, but the fencing at the elementaries around the kindergarten playgrounds looks phenomenal. It is such a nice professional job, it looks great. Really, really upgraded the appearance of the schools.
A question for, I guess it's that committee. So we'll be selling Merriman coming up.
Right.
I don't know if it was a motion that was supported, I'm sure it was, but you wanted that money to go into something,
Into an
Where is
account
it?
for
just an account?
for future programs that the board approves for students, yeah.
Just wanna make sure, because that'll be happening soon enough.
Yeah.
And then we'll make sure.
Good, so it's
there.
close?
Okay.
All right, and
Should
also, and I can add to that, Dr. Edmondson, we will come back after I have my meeting tomorrow, more about that account, finance.
Madam President, the Wellness Committee, I will be Treasurer McCarthy and I will be working to set a date on that and also coordinate with Brian from Chartwells and assemble a committee so that we can review the current policy and make sure that we have this Wellness Committee meeting and bring before the board so that we will be back in compliance. Madam President, I have a question about the Finance Committee.
Yes.
Ms. Kennard, one, if we have finance questions, may board members submit those to you and Ms. Evetts?
Yes.
And then the second question is, when will the auditor be presenting our audit?
I will have that information to the board after I meet tomorrow.
Thank you.
November 25th.
Next board meeting, hopefully, but we'll have more information.
And
Yeah,
to the
explain the
board,
next
you will
board.
be getting superintendent goals, the 3 goals that you asked me to do. So when you get it, it'll be forwarded by our president, you'll get it, and it'll explain all of those questions that you have. Because I was charged with getting that done, and we have it done, we worked on it. It's very clear, if everybody does it, we're doing what we should be. So that'll be coming within the next week of some sort, but I'm excited to be able to answer those questions on how you would be able to deliver and who it goes to and things like that. It's very clear, so we'll be getting to this week.
All right, Madam President, move that the Board of Education approves the first and second reading of the board policy updates. Rationale, bringing board policy up to current standards as of March 2024. No budget implications, Exhibit C policy.
Support. Is there a motion by Davis, supported by Webster, any discussion?
Madam President, could the policy committee please just direct us to which of these updates are the legally required updates? Title IX and other legal matters that we did not have in our policy?
Mr. Brock, this is kind of done before I became part of the policy committee. Unless, Treasurer McCarthy wants to add something to it. It's the same thing. Mr. Brock, Scott, thank you.
Go ahead, I didn't hear the question, I'm sorry.
She wanted to know if there was any updates outside of the Title IX that you were saying?
No, I want to know, so all of these new policies that are brought for us for vote tonight, if you would please identify those that are the legal updates.
I'd have to go through them all individually, but what I will say about this policy is we're not up to date, period. So whether or not they're a legal update, or they're a selection that was made by the committee, this is something that was brought forth prior and it got tabled. This has to get updated. We've got to get our policies up to date because whether or not we move forward with Neola or Miller Johnson or whomever, these have to get updated. And they're not, to go through individually one by one, which is legal and which is not, they all need to get updated. I can appreciate the question, but I wish I would have gotten this question before tonight. Because I could have answered that very easily and sent that in an email or however we can get that answered. But to do that right now, this is a lot of work to go through and I know Title IX for sure, we are so far behind.
So is that
And
in
that's a
here?
really big one, it should be in there, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, and I have.
Harassment, discrimination,
I
Title IX, fundraising, child raising, many of these are all legal updates that are required. So I can't stress this enough, this has to get updated. You know, you talk about our contract that was just settled last week and it's on our website. Our policies are on the website and they're not up to date. This makes me nervous, extremely nervous,
So
for
that-
you all, not for me.
So that's why I'm asking, because I know Miller Johnson had forwarded all of the changes in policy that were required due to changes in law, and I don't see those
Those
in
were all
there.
forwarded to the entire board on 2 or 3 different occasions. They
Right,
came to
I'm
me
saying I don't
before.
see them in here, I'm asking.
So everything that we went through back in March, that was updated as of March, which should include the new guidelines for Title IX, are all in there. And again, I will tell you this, we're still behind. We're still behind.
Sure.
We're 2 updates behind, if I'm not mistaken, from Miller Johnson. So I might, most likely, the policy committee will be coming back to the board again to either say we're gonna move forward with Neola, or we're gonna move forward with an updated version of Miller Johnson, another update, which are more legal updates. So either way, I urge this board to do something with these policies so we can get them updated.
Madam President, Mayor.
Yes.
Okay, so for me, is not the fact that this shouldn't be happening, okay, at this time. Traditionally, how we've handled, making these types of changes to our policy is, with direct respect to administration, to the board, is that we had, the opportunity to hear what the changes are and why, and from, and due to, okay? And so that piece of that is missing. So even though I'm looking at this and I see this strikeout and what have you not, some people are visionary, some people get from hearing and so on and so forth. And it appears that you have a time frame in terms of what you're trying to meet in doing this. And so, it's kind of, like, okay, you're bringing this to us today, although they've worked on it and you had conversations in March and whatever, but to the board in terms of, what we're changing it from and to and what have you not, we have not had that extensive discussion. All right, so I'm not saying that, we're not in agreement or in agreement with, I'm just for clarification, that's where, for me.
Well, let me show you the normal way that this is done.
Yeah.
So you have a board policy manual.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do with it, it doesn't impact me whatsoever in terms of my job on a daily basis, other than if somebody violates board policy and it's not up to date, it's a liability for the Board of Education.
Correct.
It's a lawsuit. Typically what happens is you have a policy manual, and every time there's an update, the policy committee comes together. That's the reason you have a committee, come together, they review the policy. If there are legal updates, they come to the board for the first reading, they go to the board for the second reading, they become policy.
Right.
That's what I'm used to. When I came here, the policy was outdated already by a year. And in fact, I think it was Trustee Powell that noticed that what we had on the website prior to getting here, prior to Dr. Evanson coming back, was inaccurate. So we put the one that we all felt was accurate back up. So that's what I'm used to. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I'm used to that.
We are well behind the 8 ball on this. We're not up to date. I worry more for this Board of Education than I do for myself. This is not something that an administrator should be bringing forth whatsoever. This comes out of your policy committee. Your policy committee makes a recommendation to the board. I'm just here as a consultant to help guide this committee through the work that they're doing, because I live it every day. The fact that I'm not suggesting you're disagreeing with me or agreeing with me. What's before you is an update as of March.
Okay.
If the board doesn't vote on it, then we continue with the policy that we have, which is fine. I'm just stating that we're behind.
Yeah.
We were behind in March, we came up to date, we presented it to you. If I remember correctly, board members wanted it tabled because they wanted to see the red line version, which you have in front of you, that was sent to you, and it was never brought back forward to the board for approval.
So the language that from the previous to what you're recommending in that language came from our policy committee, they wrote the language?
They didn't write it, it was recommended from Miller Johnson.
Okay, from Miller Johnson, okay, and so our policy committee endorsed what was submitted back to. Is that pretty much what you're saying?
I mean, I don't speak for the policy.
No, well, no.
Okay,
Okay, so we just want some clarifications, so this information did come from Miller Johnson and it's being presented to the board, okay, and it's the new language, currently which.
It's current as of
March 2024, okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Madam President, so my question is, Miller Johnson was provided this is a question, was Miller Johnson provided changes that the policy committee wanted to make, and then they approved them?
No, they provided us with updates.
So behavior was an update by Miller Johnson?
They do that, we don't. They tell you.
They tell us.
Okay.
Unless there's a specific policy that we would like to write.
So under the attendance and truancy, and this came back in March, it has a highlight, position. There is no, it says the school district's position, there needs to be positions.
Any positions that are in there will be filled in when we approve. I have to fill it in because the Title IX coordinator is me. My investigators have been identified. The teaching and learning director is Dr. Gardner. Those are pretty simple updates that we'll just plop in there. Those aren't necessarily something that you have to approve in terms of policy.
So we're blind approving these, because the truancy, we don't know who who in the district is responsible for enforcing a policy, and we don't know who concludes that a parent is failing to comply with Michigan's compulsory school attendance law.
So I wouldn't say blindly, because you have an attorney, you have a firm, and this is what they do, they're recommending that you look at these and implement them, because particularly, something as simple as a cell phone, it's coming, and they will give us a recommendation. You don't have to follow it, if you don't wanna do it, you don't have to do it, but they'll give you at least a baseline, and then we can change that. When you're on the policy committee, you say, we don't like this, we need to add this specifically, then you do that. But it's not my job either to come up with, let me think about a board policy, what do I need to do? That's not how that works. You have the attorneys and the firms and the consultants. I wanna make sure you're listening, so I will stop. You have the attorneys and you have the firms who are the scholars, they're the, I wanna say legal scholars that are gonna give you the recommendations, give you policy that's gonna work for you. It's our job to then accept the policy or to adopt it. If you wanna change it, then we can go change. For instance, grades. If we wanna change grades, like I think we should do something at the middle school level, like, hey, you can't have kids just failing everything and move them on. Then we would go to Miller Johnson and say, hey, listen, we need something for our middle school, we have some ideas, they might give us the language to work on and give that for us, and then we would come back to you. But I don't wanna say blindly, because that just assumes like, but none of us know what we're doing, let's just throw this to you. That's not how that works. You're paying somebody to give this to you, and there are other school districts that have the same thing. We all go to someone, all of us go to someone, you don't make it up yourself, because you'd be a fool to do that, for lack of a better term. You let the legal scholars come to you and say, hey, we suggest that you do this. You don't have to do it, but we suggest that you do it. And certain things they'll say, based on state mandates or something, you need to have this in there. You need to have a policy on whatever it is, because it's coming, or the state says, boom, you have to do it. So again, I just don't want to say blindly, because I respect the legal scholars who are telling us this is what you need to do. And then, like he said, once you approve it, then we go back and we'll fill in Kevin Brock, or maybe Kevin Brock's gone, or Kevin says, no, it should be such and such, or Dr. Gardner, she says it, fine, that's when we put that in there. But we just want to make sure, if we don't have something from, March 24, that was 54. 55 now, that's my point.
I was 49, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we're
But
going
the
on.
thing is, we know this was brought to us in March. We know there have been more legal updates since then, and there's always gonna be them. We need to get this approved, then we work on the next batch of legal updates so that we can get our stuff 100% in line. As long as we keep kicking it down the road, there's gonna be so many more things we have to do. I'm from the other side of Brock, with Brock, where I deal with this every day, and when you come up with it in your policies and your procedure, and it's not right, there is a line. It's crazy. It's either we're gonna do it or not. If people wanna vote for it, my thing is, it's like, we need to come and get in order.
Madam President, when was the last time the policy committee met?
We met last month and we talked about getting we brought in, who was that we brought in to offer?
Credit from Neola.
Right, from Neola, because we talked about which way we were gonna go to update our policy. But at the last, we still need to bring things up to date, because nothing was ever settled when you guys, from the previous, because it got tabled for
Due to the
communication.
retention policy,
Right.
my recommendation was that we kept our current policy policy and just brought everything up to legal.
Correct.
I cannot confirm or confer if this is actually what's in front of me. I haven't met with policy since we were talking about the retention policy, and I'm not taking responsibility for this and put my name on it if I can't confirm that.
We were just saying that this was what was tabled back
Right,
in
and I'm
March.
just saying I
And we
can't
did talk about retention.
confirm if this is actually that.
And
That's fine.
And also, Treasurer McCarthy, we had talked at the table in March that we felt these positions needed to be filled in. And I believe it was agreed that at the table that yes, these positions, that just say position, we need to put those positions in there so that we know that the process is being followed. So I agree with you, the retention policy was discussed, these two words were discussed, and so where is that?
If the meeting was live streamed, let's run the meeting back and pull out the board packet from that date.
Madam President?
Yes.
I have an email. I know, Mr. Brock said that this brings us current as of March 2024. I have an email, when Treasurer McCarthy was chair of the policy committee that came to us from Miller Johnson, June 13th of 2024. And it lists all of the updates that we needed for legal. And it breaks it down by section. So for the 0000 series, as of June, there's nothing to be updated. Yet we have that in here. For the 1000 series, the things that are to be brought are actually not in this packet. There are things in the 1000 series that were not recommended by legal, but things that legal did recommend are not included in for us to vote on tonight, such as the conflict between policies and administrative regulations, the adoption of amendment of bylaws and policies. We do have the cardiac response plan, but there are lots of things. For example, the 3000 series, which we have in our packet, it deals with the curriculum and instruction. So what we have there is the recommended policy update is the board intends that students be provided access to a wide variety of educational materials in various media to support learning. The superintendent, current policy is authorized to, that has been stricken to, may make or approve purchases from the media center. And then it includes professional staff members, parents, and students may recommend such purchases. And what we get is, what we were given is all in black and white. What we get when we are changing policy is we have current language that will be stricken in red, the new language put in blue so that we know what we're doing. But that policy that legal recommended in June of 2024 is not what is worded here. And all through this, of these policies, there are things where the board is completely taken out of existing policy. There's also a policy in here that is not even legal as of today. It's for the meeting procedures being allowed to, currently the OMA provides for members of active military duty to participate remotely. We're being presented with a policy for approval that allows board members who are active military duty or a disability to participate remotely. Currently, that refers to Senate Bill 870, which was just voted out of the Senate last Thursday on the 7th. It's only right now before the House Government Operations Committee. So if this Board of Education approves that policy, it's not even legal. So again, Madam President, I am asking that we be allowed to review all of these policy changes in more than just black and white, so we can see what wording is being stricken and the specific language being replaced, not in these other paragraphs, because all through this, there are things that essentially strip the board of its ability to govern as the responsibility set forth in our state constitution. And that's a very, very irresponsible thing for this board to just approve blindly by waiving a first reading, going right to second, and this Board of Education can't even tell, we don't even know where are the legal updates. All we know, and Mr. Brock, I appreciate you saying that this isn't on you, that this is board policy, and this is for the board committee, this should come out of board committee. But we heard in another meeting how you and a community member spent an entire day rewriting policy. With all due respect, it is board policy for a reason.
Yeah, with all due respect, I didn't rewrite any policy. What the board requested was a red line version, which is what that community member and I did, is go through the red line. We didn't write policy, we didn't change policy. We went through and redlined what you all asked for. So I take offense to the fact, in all due respect, that you think I wrote policy. This isn't on me, this is not
Why are we working on policy? You just said it comes out of the committee.
It comes out of the committee asked us to go through and redline the policy, that's exactly what we did. And to your point, anything happened in June would not be in this update. This is as of March 2024. If you want the policy committee to go back and update it to today, then that's fine, that's the policy committee. I take no offense to any of that. I didn't write policy, I have written policy, not for this district. I take offense to you making a claim that's false. I'm not gonna sit here and make a false claim, it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay.
Madam President.
It's not okay.
All right.
It's not okay.
Madam President, may I clarify something? I specifically asked, Mr. Brock, the terminology, the language, who provided us with it, and he told us Mother Johnson. So to clarify, he did not say to this board that he wrote any other language. He said Mother Johnson. So in May. Now anything after that,
This was March.
I don't know.
This was March.
Okay, March.
That's why the updates that, no disrespect to you are, yes, what would have come out in June would have been the next step for our regular legal updates. So it's not going to have anything listed in there that was an update in March, because by June, it really should have been done.
This isn't what Treasurer McCarthy
I let
gave
you
us.
talk, so I'm just gonna say, I understand, it's no disrespect. You said yes.
Right.
For June, these are the new updates. We're working now off of what was in March. And I think I stated earlier, we get through this and we get to the next set of legal updates to try and slowly but surely bring us up to date. So we're going back and forth, this way or that way. This was from March, the updates that were presented. I was not a part of, and I'm not saying anyone co-signed them or whatnot. This is what was brought to us for us to review, and we're just trying to get something per president to kind of get something approved to start us moving forward so that we as the new policy committee can work to start working on these issues and bringing them and clearing everything up.
Yeah, let me just say this, so.
These were not brought to us in March.
These were sent to Madam Treasurer McCarthy back in March, and I believe that's when she sent them to the entire board. What you have before you was sent to Treasurer McCarthy and then sent on to the board. So let me just say this, again, I don't write policy, I'm gonna be very clear, I don't write policy, I didn't write these policies, these were provided to us by Mother Johnson. I was asked by the committee, I'm a consultant on that committee, I don't write policy, this is the board's, this is your right to write policy or to consult with Mother Johnson or whomever to write policy. I was asked to help, that's not within my purview of my job, other than to follow policy. So again, I take offense to your statement that I sat and wrote policy for a day with the committee.
I apologize for that, Mr.
Thank you for the apology, I
apologize
appreciate
for
that, because I was trying to be very crystal clear. There's no underhandedness, because that's the implication, there's no underhandedness, there's no mischievous behavior here. This was provided by Mother Johnson, this is even before March. This was well before March, this is probably January or February of 2024, when these were brought to us, the board asked us to redline the policies, we did that, provided them to, at that point, Vice President McCarthy, who then forwarded them on to you. I didn't write these policies. Again, I live within the policies that we have. I worry for our liability insurance, I worry for anything that might happen for the policies that we have in place. I think it's an issue. Now, if you want the policy committee to go back and update it to this date and include everything that you've mentioned, I don't have a dog in this fight, I really don't. I'm here presenting and I feel under the attack from you because I've done something inappropriate. I haven't done anything inappropriate. I brought forth, and I'm the spokesperson for the committee. I'm just a consultant on these matters. I'm passionate about policy. I like policy, I enjoy the work. I don't have to sit on that committee, I don't have to be part of that committee. And if that's the way, if this is how we're gonna interact, I don't want to be part of it.
Well,
I enjoy it, I appreciate it,
yeah.
I appreciate the people that are part of it. But I do not appreciate the interaction.
Well, Mr. Brock, when policy was first brought to the board, under, now Treasurer McCarthy, the board voted that no policies would be changed, we would keep the current policies, and that all of the legal updates would be brought to the board for approval. So it was the directive of the board at that time, under, Ms. McCarthy's, when she chaired the committee, the board voted to keep all the existing policies and only add the legal updates. Now, we have legal updates. And they're already redlined and all of that. They're provided to us free of charge by Miller Johnson. So I agree with you in that there is great liability. You brought that to our attention when you first came to our district in March of 2023. And here we are in November of 2024, and we still have not updated the legal components of our policy. And that needs to be our priority, not because I think so, but because this board nearly a year ago voted that we update the legal parts. Now, all this other stuff gets put in there, and board members don't know what they're voting on. There's like that thing for the participation, that's not even legal yet.
I understand, but you're attacking me.
No, I'm not attacking you.
are.
Is this
You are.
recommend?
As I'm saying to you, I'm up here answering questions. I am just a member of this committee, you are attacking me, and I don't appreciate it. You're doing it again.
No,
I'm tired.
there's something that's illegal in here.
This is as of March, so again, the board has the authority to say, go back to the table, bring it up to speed legally, and bring it back before us. That's your option, I'm okay to do that, you're speaking to me as though I'm making these decisions, I don't make these decisions, this is a board policy committee.
Thank you. So what I just wanna say is, I'm looking at the policy that was sent to me and it aligns with what's in the board packet. Now, it may be some discrepancies on what you just mentioned, Trustee Powles, regarding something is in there and the update hasn't come yet. But like we stressed at the last meeting 2 weeks ago, the urgency to get this policy up and running. And I received no questions, no comments, no concerns, except for when we met at 5 o'clock, I had board members coming to me about the policy. So I don't think that's fair to me and the team to try to get these questions answered, and even the policy committee. Now, I went line by line, and I'm matching what Treasurer McCarthy sent me as the policy as of, she put in here, sorry, it was, I don't wanna, she said where she tentatively left off 3/2024. It aligns with what's in the packet. So that's why I'm saying, we put the urgency out there that this was gonna be coming forth 2 weeks ago, and I haven't heard anything. So at this point, I respect all the comments that have been here, but we're gonna run the vote. Thank you.
Are we going to remove the policy that is not legal?
We're gonna run the
Or are we
vote.
voting to approve something?
We're gonna run the vote.
Okay.
Go ahead, Judy.
Kennard,
Come back to me, please.
Pettit,
No.
Isles,
No.
Davis,
Yes.
McCarthy,
No.
Kennard,
No.
Lasker,
Yes.
Lester, yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Madam President, may we have a workshop to go through these policies and understand them better, please?
I will send something out and I hope to get a response from the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes.
Okay, so, I know 2 weeks ago, I spoke up and said, you know, we'll have a new board, and I said it's time to move on, I meant it. By that, for me, what that means is, you're not gonna have nonsense at the table, that's what that means to me, because we've had it. We continue to have it, and we said, it's time to move forward. So I just have a couple of questions. I had to write up the superintendent's goal, and one of our goals was that we would provide, I just need clarification, that we would provide an agenda and a board packet to the board on Thursday for their review. We cannot wait till Monday to then look at that packet. Well, what's the purpose of my team putting it together on a Thursday, as stated, because we do get held to that? And this is a question, I'm not trying to throw anything at the board, I'm trying to move forward. If we do it Thursday, there's an expectation that it gets read so that you can ask me, for sure you can ask me questions. I feel like I don't wanna say at your disposal, because that would probably be corrected. But I'm here to be able to address those questions, as is the president. And she would give them to me and say, hey, the board is really not feeling, because that's what Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is for, not Monday. We've said it before, not Monday. Monday, that's not when we do that, it's on Monday. Okay, I think that's the responsibility of the board to do that. My next question would be, and again, it's clarity. Who's in charge of calling a committee? It's not my job to call the committee. It's not my team's job to call the committee. If it's a board committee, it's the board's job to call their committee, and we'll be there. You tell us when, we'll be there. So I'd like, just again, moving forward, there's no blame. I just don't want this, what I just saw. I don't need it either. I don't need it, and I don't want it, and I don't think it reflects well. I just think that we should think about those things, and maybe who's ever running the committee needs to do it once every 3 months, set it in stone. We know when we have board meetings, so we should know when we have policy committees so that we can sit there and engage. If Trustee Piles wants to be a part of that committee and wants to participate, then she, huh? Oh, I'm sorry, Secretary Piles, I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, Secretary, and I'm sorry, I'm always partial to left. If Secretary Piles wants to be a part of that,
She's trustee.
Okay, thank you.
Just say
fine.
Thank you.
I'm fine.
But you know, thank you, I'm so sorry.
No, don't.
55, I'm telling you. So I think that we need to have these discussions and have healthy discussions about what your role is and what is your obligation. There's an obligation, I get held to a standard. I think there should be board members, if you're head of a committee, you should be held to a standard too. Because it does feel like, and we don't want, and I can tell you firsthand, it feels sometimes like we get attacked. For what? I'm trying to be on the same team. We might disagree, but we gotta figure out how to disagree. It just doesn't feel well. And I wanted to say to you, Trustee, I'm gonna say this, Trustee Kennard, I just wanted to say thank you, and I meant that, because I feel like it's different. I do, whether it is or not, I feel like it's different. And I thank you that it could have looked different than that. We don't have to engage like this. You don't have to. Hey, if you need that, listen, let me know on Saturday, tell trustee or the president, hey, this isn't working, we'll fix it. I promise you, we'll fix it. We just don't, I don't need to go through this. I don't I don't feel like another 4 years of just bickering and trying to show somebody up at the board table. That's the way it feels. Doesn't mean that that's done. But that's the way it feels. And if I feel that way, that means it is done. So I just want us to work together just to figure out, we shouldn't be talking about policy. We don't have anything in here. I mean, if you ask me, what's the board policy say? I'm like, well, damn, what year was that? I don't even know. I mean, was it March, June? I don't know. So if we're gonna be on committees, I think that we also should honor the fact that you're a chair of a committee and you get these things done. Okay, and we'll work with you on our end, but it's not our responsibility to come up with board policy. I will give some recommendations on things that I think, okay? I don't know how to word them, I'm not a lawyer, but I think there needs to be a process to hear. Because for those of us who put these packets together, it sure feels like you're attacked. When you're putting it together, you're trying to do it with the best of the board. It doesn't always come out that way. When we're up here, we feel like we're attacked. So I'm just asking, can we turn the corner, please? And I've said that before. Turn the corner on how we treat one another, how we speak to one another, and how we do business here. You hold me accountable. I think it's fair that we all hold each other accountable too. That's all I'm gonna say.
Madam President.
Yes.
And Madam President, and to the policy committee, I'm suggesting that, we follow the process. Maybe that'll help clarify and also introduce to those in terms of how it actually should happen. And the process in terms of when we are looking at these types of issues, that we have the first and second reading. And so therefore, it speaks volumes. I feel that if we were to do that, that you would consider that, Madam President, and the policy committee, that we have the opportunity to go over this. And I do understand the urgency. Trust me, I understand the urgency in terms of which we should be functioning under, but the foundation is there. But if you want to review this and bring it up to current to the policy committee, I think that's something that you should have in your discussions, and also give us the opportunity to review these.
Duly noted, thank you. Any other reports from the subcommittees? Report of the board president. I wanted to congratulate our varsity Eagles. Even though we fell short of the victory, they had a lot of odds that they fought against, and they still, as a team, came together strong. So thank you to Coach Cersei and to the boys. I think they did great. I think our school showed out and represented well. And to the Flyers, congratulations on the championship. The Peanut Bowl, is that Peanut Bowl? Peanut Bowl, I'm sorry, Peanut Bowl. I also want to say Happy Veterans Day. Thank you to everyone that has served, have family that have served, the ones that we have lost, and the ones that are currently protecting our country, and the ones that just carry the title of a veteran. Thank you. Parent-teacher conferences are Thursday. I do hope that we show up as a board, maybe peek into your school that you're assigned to and just show support. I did send a text message out. I appreciate the feedback of doing certain things. It's just kind of disheartening sometimes when I do send out communications and there is not a response, because as president, I'm held to a regard of I have to send out communication, and I know that's the role, but when you send out communications and you don't hear back, it is kind of like a shot. So I do take the feedback of what was presented here, of what you want, but I do hope that when I present that you do respond to the messages. Congratulations to Trustee Kennard and Trustee Piles, also to Ms. Monifa Kamal, both on your re-elections and on your new election. Congratulations. And I also, when I make mistakes, I am woman enough to admit. So earlier during public comment, I did not know that we had bylaws in place. So that was sent to me. Now we do have a public comment form that is, I have it.
Okay.
Yeah. So on our public comment form, for example, it says personal attacks on board members and district employees will not be permitted. It also says that public comment doesn't exceed 30 minutes. That's incorrect. You actually can't put a time limit on public comments. So our policy, not our policy, our form needs to be updated to make sure that we have the correct verbiage on there and that we're following it to a T. I also want to say that as public officials, the bar is set pretty high of what can come to you. So I'm not saying that what comes is right or wrong, but as we take these seats, sometimes it's a hot seat. It's a thankless job that you do sometimes, and sometimes people just come at you or however it goes. Now, sorry, where was I going with that? Legally, people have the right to the First Amendment. In our bylaws, it does say that you can't personally attack by name, but it also doesn't say that you can't say what you want to say. So the comment that might have came across, if a name wasn't mentioned, what was said is still not incorrect. So do we all agree with that per se? Mm-hmm. Okay. So going forward, we'll have the bylaws out there. We'll make sure that our forum is up to date. But just going forward, I will stop if a name is called, but I won't stop what is said. If there's a breach of peace or anything, we will handle it when we get there. So I just want to make sure we're following suit, and I apologize that when the name was called, I did not stop that. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's still me. Trustee Kennard.
Come back to me, please.
Okay. Treasurer McCarthy. Thank you. Trustee Piles.
I lost my thought, I'm sorry.
Secretary West.
Come back to me, please.
I just want to say thank you to Chartwells. I know he's gone for the awesome dinner we had. Being able to sample what our students eat on a day-to-day basis was actually good. I'd like to congratulate Trustee Piles and Trustee Kennard on their reelection, as well as welcome Ms. Monica Kamal to the board for the 24-25. Congratulations, piggybacking off of our president for the Romulus Eagles. They did an awesome job. And for our students that went out there and showed out and showed how they can really act. You know, no issues, no anything. It was so good to hear that. And for those that came out and supported the Flyers on Saturday, Dr. Edmondson was there. Mr. Parker was there. A lot of Hale Creek was there, as well as bar staff. So they really appreciate it. Our freshmen came up short. They came up as the runner-ups. They won last year. Our JV and our varsity are the Peanut Bowl champions this year. And for our varsity, it's the first time in over 20 years that they actually won a championship. They've always come in a runner-up, but first year that they won a championship. Our girls competed yesterday at cheer competition, and our freshman girls brought home a trophy since the boys didn't, so the girls brought home a trophy. The other two teams came up a little short, but we had a great season, so thank you for everybody that came out and supported them. And it's gonna be my last year with the Flyers. After 24 years, I am retiring. So it's a bittersweet year, bittersweet, you know, 24 years with the baby, so it's bittersweet, but it's time for me to move on to something bigger and better and let some young folks take over. Let's see, I think that's it, but thank you for everybody that came out tonight, and just looking forward to moving forward. Darcel and I will get together so that we can schedule our policy meeting and get with the updates and get everything together so we can get the first and second read, so we can, you know, move forward, and hopefully we can get something here before the end of the year. So I'm not gonna promise that we're gonna have that reading, but we're gonna try and get something worked on, something preliminary or something that we can also bring to the table for you guys to look at and review.
Thank you, Trustee House.
Yes, thank you for that, President Lasser, for looking that up. And also, not just for that, but thank you for the communication, the ongoing communication that you have with the board through text, through email, and keeping us informed. Thank you for taking our questions and getting answers. As I told you, I do apologize policy is something that I didn't intentionally put off. You know, I was out of state, my daughter who had surgery, and so I wasn't able to review it until today. But I just want you to know that even in spite of the concerns I expressed, I respect you and I thank you for the way that you are handling this office and the way that you communicate with the board. So thank you for that very much. Nifa Kamal, congratulations on your election, and Ms. Kennard on your re-election. And also, Dr. Cheney, thank you for being here today. Thank you for being involved in the district and in the students and what you bring. You don't need a seat or a title to lead or bring value. And I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir there, but all of us, a seat doesn't make us, superior. A title doesn't make us superior. It makes us more responsible and accountable. But I challenge all of us to reach out to community members who want to help and serve in committees or in any way that impacts students beneficially. Lastly, President Wester, former President Wester. I did see on Ms. Kennard's promotional material endorsements, and I noticed that she was endorsed by you. And I want to thank you for that, because I know this board, we've had differences many times, right? But ultimately, when it came down to it, thank you for endorsing and being able to set aside anything personal and, recognizing that Ms. Kennard adds value to this board. And to everyone, one voice might be incessant and louder but it never speaks louder than 4,000 to 5,000 people. So thank you to the voters of Romulus who did the right thing, and thank you for others in the community who will continue doing the right thing. And let's go forward, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Powell. Vice President Davis.
Judy, did you have anything? No, did you say come back later?
Yeah. Okay. Trustee Kennard.
Is it trustee Kennard now? Yes. Okay, so first I'd like to thank everyone who's here, who's sitting through our meeting today, and we appreciate your input. It's very valuable. Also, I'd like to say that on the campaign trail for me, it was very energetic, and we had a good day that day. It was a nice weather. Voters came out, and I had the opportunity to sit and talk and listen. I did a lot of listening, and so to Dr. Cheney, I would like to say to you that your 4,000 plus something votes speaks volumes, okay? And it speaks volumes to all of the efforts that you put into your campaign. And also, welcome, I wanna say your name correct, Monifia Camara, is that correct? Okay, I tried. Welcome to the board.
Wait, it's Monifia? Monifa. Come on.
Okay, come on, Monifa, come on. And we look forward to seeing you at the table in 2025. So, you know, when we have all these discussions at the board table, that's just part of brainstorming, and that's part of clarification, it's part of us coming together so that we can make a concise vote and take votes on things. And so that's what it's all about when you start looking at teams and how individuals work independently. Each one of us bring a talent and a skill to what we were elected to do. And so there's no disparity in terms of saying that we're so way apart, but when we come together, we are together. I would like to take this opportunity to everyone in my community for re-electing me to service the district for the next 4 years. I also want to acknowledge the many workers who worked with me throughout the campaign for this re-election, and I want to thank you for 5,181 votes. My platform has always been, since I was appointed to the board and then now elected 2 terms to service, and that platform is, and it speaks, that I continue to ensure that all students who attend Romulus Community Schools District deserves a quality education regardless of what their needs are, so that they can be able to compete after they exit from K-12. And so with all of that, I would like to say thank you very much.
Thank you, trustee Kennard. Trustee Eggets? I was about to say something else, I'm sorry.
Okay, first of all, I'm gonna say what everybody at the table has said. Congratulations to trustee Kennard and trustee Piles and Ms. Kamal. Congratulations, welcome. Look forward to seeing you actively involved in this board in January. Congrats to the Eagles and the community that came out to support. I understand from Dr. Edmondson's post that there were more people from Romulus than there were the home stadium, correct?
I didn't count, but
Well, no, but the appearance of it. Okay, and congratulations to the Flyers and the cheerleaders for all of their competitions and successes this weekend. Thank you, President, for bringing out that form, because it clearly states that we will not tolerate the continuous harassment and lies that have been told about 4 board members at this table. It is continuous, and I take great offense to it. The terms, the team norms that are on the front of our board packet say, we work to the future. We communicate openly and professionally, and we respect each other. And tonight at this table, there was lack of respect at this table because of a community person who is bashing this district and ultimately costing us students. So I appreciate you bringing up the fact that this personal attacks on board members and district employees will not be tolerated. And I hope it's addressed in the future. because I will be sitting in the audience in the future, and I will continuously support this board. That's it, thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Davis.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I really want to emphasize to my board members that these committees should not be islands on their own.
Very true.
I have been on policy this year and the previous year under Treasurer McCarthy. I'm not sure exactly the communications they've received, but frankly, I have not received any information from my fellow board members in terms of policy at all. I heard it was brought up about the tradition and process of how things go. I think the problem is that we don't know what that is. We can bring up saying, oh, we have this tradition, this process has been here, but we can't call it a tradition if it hasn't been followed in so long. So I would like to invite my board members to bring some input into the process of how these committees should function. Because frankly, I don't know how else it functions. I've only been on the board for, a year and a half? And I've heard no input so far, and I just really appreciate a certain level of respect and professionalism in terms of the work that our committees are empowered to do and the things we bring to the table. And we really don't want to be an island on our own trying to come up with how things should run. We would really appreciate some input every once in a while. Thank you.
Madam President,
Thank you, Vice President Davis. Yes, Trustee
yes,
Canoia.
I just wanted to let Vice President Davis know that I had a conversation with our president just recently. And one of the things, and you're correct, and I appreciate the fact that you brought that to our attention, but in the last couple of years or so, whatever, we had gotten away from the orientation piece and how that orientation should look like. And she did put something out where we had the conversation and moved forward, we're brainstorming and what that may look like with new coming board members as well as reoccurring for current board members. And I think with that process, that will help us bridge that as we matriculate out the end. And then, as you serve, things come up that needs to be changed, and we'll address that. So we recognize that, just recently in our conversation, and hopefully we'll address it. Thank you for making that statement.
Thank you. Dr. Edmondson?
Thank you. Congratulations to those who won, and congratulations for those who did not, for just having enough courage to put yourself out there to not win. I mean, that's tough, no matter what you do, but you can't win if you don't put yourself out there. So congratulations to all of you. Again, I hope that we're able to work together collaboratively. I guess we'll see. That's what I'm operating on. Just a couple of things, the mayor says one round on this. We need to adopt one board over here, one board. Some of the things that happened here tonight, I just don't like, and I'll say it. I don't think it's fair, and I'm gonna say this to the board, and it's holding them accountable. Everybody here doesn't have a computer. Everybody doesn't pull up their computer, and I don't like that. I don't like, and that's to just anyone. I don't like when somebody pulls up a computer and find an email that I wrote 2 years ago, and they're gonna say, well, you wrote this. It says, we shouldn't even be doing that. That's a gotcha. That's like, I'm trying to get you. We don't have to do that. And don't say that I said something or that this board said. Nobody is equipped to say that here. Well, this board is, no, we're not. You shouldn't even do that. There's a place to have that conversation. I've invited you in before. Every board member is more than welcome to come and meet my team. Okay? Every one of you is. That's an open invitation. If you're in a community, you have an open invitation to come speak to my team. Anything that you want to ask them, ask them. Because all I say to them is tell the truth. Whatever it is, just tell the truth. Now, at 55, I can't remember everything that I said last year. I can't remember. But to hold me to that at a board table and say it as though it's truth, I got a problem with that. I just don't think that's healthy to move forward. Maybe we should have a commitment that the one that puts their computer up should be the president. Anybody else? No, don't have your computer up. I just don't think it's good practice for all of us. Some of us have it, some of us don't. Let's be fair. If we're gonna try to turn the corner and I say, hey, we're gonna work together, it needs to look like something. We should all be on the same page, as I said, and this isn't to anybody here. But I say, when I lead this school district, I say, unless we all know what's going on, it's hard to hold somebody accountable. And I'll say it again so that everybody can hear that. If everybody doesn't know what's going on, you can't hold them accountable. So we need to make sure that we are secure on what we're doing and how we're gonna operate. Otherwise, I can't hold somebody accountable for having a computer screen when it's all right. I mean, how am I gonna say, I'm just saying that we need to figure out, what do we stand for here? What are our protocols at this table? Okay, I think that we could move ahead fast and furious if we could just get a couple things where we're rowing in the right direction, in the same direction, okay? So I just wanted to say that. A couple of other things. Congratulations to our East Point Athletic Director, Paris
Oh
McCarthy.
my gosh, I did think.
My God, I'm so excited. Paris to me is like a younger daughter, and I mean, it's like, I just feel great about her and her leadership and what she's gonna do with that district and whatever district you choose after that. I said, once you get it on your resume, now you got it. You can't talk about what you will do, it's what I have done. So you're gonna do great things, I already know that. So congratulations for hanging in there, because it's tough when you don't get the jobs and you tried and tried and tried, but I had to have courage and still get up there and try again and fail, to allow yourself to fail, you did it. So congratulations, it was worth the ride, I can promise you that, it's worth every rejection that you got. You finally got it, so congratulations to you and your family. So a couple last things. You know, my friends and I, we talk about, I'm 55 years old, and you know, we're serious. I have about 19 summers. We did the math, 19 summers. I'll be about 74 before my body truly would probably start seeing some changes where I can't do the things that I want. That's huge for me. I only have 19 in my mind. I only have 19. So I have to spend time focusing on the positive. What time I have here needs to be positive. I can't be focused on nonsense. So I want you to know, and I've said it before, I am in a great place in my life now. Was I in the summer? Absolutely not. But I went to see my dad and I talked to my son and I recharged. I needed to say what I needed to say to my family. And I'm in a wonderful place now, a wonderful place. I'm not here to argue and if that's what you want from me, I'm not that guy. Okay, I'm not that guy. I want to lead this district for at least 6 years. That's where I would like to be. If the district doesn't want that from me, that's fine. We'll go different places. Okay, we'll go in separate directions. But that's what I'd like, and I want to continue to move this district forward. And hear somebody say, thank you to the superintendent. Thank you to the team. Okay, listen, my team, I love this team. I come every single day and I have a blast with some of the things that I see and the work that they do. They do give their all here. And every now and then it's all right for board members to say, hey, Dr. Gardner, you're doing a good job. It might not be perfect, but you're doing a good job and you're moving us forward. We can see with the scores and a whole bunch of things. So I'd like if the board genuinely at some time, just do that, please, on your own. Okay, I'm not forcing you to do it, but it goes a long way. And the last thing for me, because this is the most important to me, President Laster, I've never had a president like you, and I mean, that's no disrespect to anyone that's ever been a president here under me. Just never had it, and I think I like that you openly support me. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, you're supposed to. And you do check me, they don't know it, but you check me, you have no problem checking me, as a matter of fact. None. But I need that, and I thank you for that. I thank your leadership and your courage to sit at the table and even allow yourself to say something, and maybe it's wrong, but you have the wherewithal to go back and apologize with sincerity and not do it again, not do the same thing over and over and over and keep apologizing. But I just thank you for your support, because I've been in places where I've had a president that made me miserable, and I probably made them miserable too, just out of all fairness, and not just them. Okay? So I acknowledge that too. So it has been an honor and privilege to work with you. You're still new, kind of young too. I don't see you quite like the sister, but because you get the little baby, you're right. You're right. But just to the board, I look forward to working, moving positively forward under your leadership. And I thank you for that so much. And I thank everybody else that has given me the support at this table. Even if we argue, sometimes sometimes it doesn't feel like you give me support, but I know ultimately I'm gonna move this district forward with your support. We can go a lot further with your support. So everybody that's here, have a wonderful day. Stay safe and enjoy what you have. Tomorrow's not promised. We should know that. It is not promised. So enjoy yourself.
Madam President?
One second, can I have everybody's confidential papers?
Thank you.
Yes, trustee House.
one other thing I know to, Vice President Davis's point, and it's well taken, Mr. Davis, is for us to all have a shared understanding of, you know, how things, of policy, of our bylaws, of best practices, and also of what board roles are and what they are not. And I know, President Laster, we had a brief discussion, but the training, board member training is highly beneficial and helps us know what we're supposed to do and what we're not, so we're not just up here governing based on feelings, ideas, beliefs, or whatever. So, Romulus, to my knowledge, has never been an honor board. We have the opportunity to become an honor board for the first time. An honor board means that all sitting members have completed the 100 series, and I know we have one board member who's completed about 3 levels, but needs one class in that 100 level, but if that person and then the other board member who hasn't had the 100 series, all are available online, and if those are completed by December 31st, the Romulus Community Schools Board of Education will be recognized by Wayne County Association of School Boards publicly and recognized by MASB. And I respectfully request that we could commit to that, not just for the award, but so, again, it's a step in having a shared understanding and being unified, right? And it helps us know not just how we vote, but why we vote, what that's based on, what it should be based on. And so that we're all speaking a common language.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor? Aye. 8:32.
Jay say aye. Aye.